everybody. Good morning. Welcome to Board Game Breakfast. I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Z Garcia. Hello.
And I'm the podfather of gaming, Stephen Bonacore.
All righty, we're back. We missed last week. We were at Dice Tower West. But if you missed that, which is okay, of course, we would like to invite you to Dice Tower East. Same thing, different side of the country, over in Orlando, Florida, happening from July 6th to the 10th. 5 days of extreme gaming, hot games. Extreme gaming sounds wrong. Fun gaming.
Oh, we're on the side of the mountain here with 40-mile-an-hour winds.
Yeah. Take your Euro game and go home, nerds.
Anyway, Dice Tower West went great, by the way, Tom and Z and everybody out there. It was a fantastic time. Definitely, if you get a chance, check that out. Or, of course, Dice Tower East.
Yes.
So question, since we're talking about playing outside, there was an outside area at Dice Tower West where people could technically take a game. I think it was more to eat or just to sit and relax outside. Z, I saw you were out there a few times. Did you see anyone playing a game out there?
I don't believe I did. No.
I sat out there to eat most days because it was so cold in the convention center. It was beautifully warm in Las Vegas most days.
Mm-hmm.
So did you see anyone playing a game?
No gamers playing.
Games are hard to play outside because even the slightest breeze can ruin a game.
It was a bit breezy in Vegas, too.
It was. It felt like you were inside a cold oven. A cool oven, I guess. I'm just glad I have moisture back, baby.
Oh my goodness. You're not kidding.
I'm not a fan of that climate. I mean, I know people rail about Florida being so humid. I take this over that dry. And my hands was just completely like sandpaper. My nose, terrible.
I can literally feel my body repairing itself now that I'm back here.
All right. That's true.
Sounds like an old people conversation, doesn't it? This is really not good for my skin. Oh, and my joints hurt now.
All righty. Well, anyway, folks, definitely if you want to come to Dice Tower East, check it out, dicetowereast.com. Other than that, we got some contributors. We got some cool stuff coming your way. We'll be right back.
Hi, everybody.
Hello, we are Ryan and Bethany
From Ryan and Bethany Board Game Reviews.
Today we are talking about The Lost Ruins of Arnak. This is a game that kind of brings you into the Indiana Jones themed world, right? You have all these different artifacts that you're trying to gather. You have this temple track that you're trying to move up on. It's got worker placement elements. It's got fantastic arts and components. Arts, plural. It's got good arts.
Well, there's multiple artists,
so
that's
true.
what you were thinking. Yeah.
But man, this is a very immersive game. Puts you in that archaeologist type of world, gathering all these resources, trying to get the most amount of points.
One of the things that I really enjoyed about this game is I always felt like I had something to do. So even, I don't know, you can definitely block people in this game if you want to, but it's just like that's not what the game is. It's not a game of blocking. You're doing your own things competitively on the same board, right? So like you're kind of interacting, but I just always felt like even if somebody did something that I wanted to do, I still had options. I still had stuff that I personally could do, and I just really liked that.
Yeah, there was tons of great decisions to be made in this game, and there was that nice early factor of risk versus reward. Every decision that you made had a risk behind it, you know?
Yeah.
If there's a monster that you'll be letting loose, and you might not have enough resources to fight it off, and then you're stuck with some more negatives and stuff like that. So the fact that it had a little bit of deck building mixed together with the worker placement was very unique, something that we hadn't seen before, at least in this way, and it worked together really, really nicely.
Yeah, I mean, you're going up a track, and then you're also doing a deck builder, and you're also doing worker placement. It blended all those together really nicely. Well, everybody, if you want to hear more from Ryan and I, make sure to find us on Facebook or YouTube. We are Ryan and Bethany Board Game Reviews. Everybody, this is Ryan and Bethany, hoping you have a happy, healthy breakfast. Bye
everybody.
Guys.
This is a segment where we take a look at a board game based on an IP, and I tell you if the IP and the mechanisms match. Today we're looking at G.I. Joe, the deck building game. This is a hard game to explain in less than a minute, so I'm going to give you a quick overview. On your turn, you can send Joes into combat. You will have to use a vehicle in order to do so, and each vehicle will tell you how many cards can go. When you go in combat, you and the other players can send Joes. Then you will roll dice to see how many times you hit in order to fulfill missions. Once you're able to fulfill all of the missions, you will win the game. At the end of each round, this tracker will move up. If the tracker gets to the top, then you'll lose the game. After going in combat and rolling your dice, you can spend these points, these stars, in order to buy more things to add to your deck. Trick here is they don't go in your discard pile, they go on top of your deck, and transports go into the hangar for other players to use also. At first, you kind of think this is a standard deck building game, and that really doesn't fulfill the needs of a G.I. Joe fan. But then you get into the combat and the mission aspect, and you got to have vehicles to get on, and everybody's working together at the table to bring the Joes in. What Joes we need to take on this mission in order to defeat Cobra? Oh, the Baroness is there, Destro is there, Cobra Commander, whoever. Who do we got that can defeat this? And complications are coming up, and we got to problem solve around that. And that aspect of it, the combat aspect of it, really brings this alive as a G.I. Joe game. Now, there haven't been a lot of G.I. Joe games released, so this is the best of the bunch by far. Even taking a step further, this is a really fun game that I just can't put down. I keep playing this game, whether it's solo or with friends or family. I keep going back to this, and that has a lot to say for it. So, my rating today is Go Joe.
All right, everybody, we're now playing a trivia-style a party game here. Mr. Z versus Mr. Steven, and you can play along at home and see if you can score higher than them. You have one slight advantage if you're playing at home, and that is they cannot both pick the same answer.
Yeah.
So here's how it works. I'm going to give you six different games, or 6 different things, mostly games, actually, all games.
Okay.
And you're trying to pick the second highest amongst these, whatever I'm numerically ranking them as. If you pick the highest, you get 0 points. The second highest, you get 50, then 40, 30, 20, and 10. There are 6 answers. So you'll get points. You're right. I just want Roy to type in bigger numbers, I guess. But that's pretty much it. So you're going to get points no matter what, as long as you don't pick the highest one. So here we go. Which of these games on BoardGameGeek.com is ranked the highest? So they're all ranked here. And to make this one easy, we're going to start off by easy. I separated them by 100 rankings each. So these all were in the same position, 100 away from each other. So here we go. We have the marvelous Heroescape Master Set Rise of the Valkyrie. This is the first Heroescape set. You can just say Heroescape. We have the little card game Herbaceous. We have the very popular, I think it won the Spiel des Jahres, Karuba. The game that some people in the Dice Tower go over and on about, Fleet, the dice game. We have a game that showed up on a top 10 list for no understandable reason, 878 Vikings, Invasion of England. And we have one of the first Summoner Wars sets, Summoner Wars Guild Dwarves vs. Cave Goblins. This is from the original Summoner Wars. There was 2 starter sets. This was one of them. So we have Heroescape, Herbaceous, Karuba, Fleet, the dice game, 878 Vikings, and Summoner Wars. So it's going to be, we'll let Z, you'll pick first, then Mr. Bonacor, and we'll switch every other question. So you cannot pick the same answer, so have a backup.
Okay, this is tricky.
This is ridiculous.
Said 100. They're 100 apart, huh? Really?
Yep. Actually, I'll tell you the numbers. It's 401, 501, 601, 701, 801, 901. They're all in the top 1,000. They're all very popular games.
Wow. Okay.
That's as of this morning, March 2022, in case you're watching this 20 years later or something. You're like, what?
No, they're not. I just like the fact that you worked in my embarrassment with 878 Vikings again. I love that. That was very good.
No question. That is honestly a coincidence because I picked the 401 and then I just went 100. I was like,
that's awesome.
Well, this works.
I can make fun of Bonacor a little more for those who know.
Also, I just gave you a clue, unfortunately.
You did indeed.
Oh, you did. Ooh. Unless it's 401. Ooh.
I'm going to go with Karuba is going to be my pick, Tom.
All right.
Karuba.
What about you, Mr. Bonacor?
Come on
because
now.
I cannot compound my embarrassment anymore, I will go with 878 Vikings because they couldn't make it, and even 900 Vikings present. 878 Vikings.
All right. Well, here's the good news for both of you. Neither one of you picked the 0 answer. The highest was Heroescape at 401 Master Set.
Nice.
Neither of you picked the lowest answer, which was Herbaceous at 901.
Okay.
The second lowest answer at 20 points at 801 was Summoner Wars.
Okay.
But then at 701, someone's finally getting points, and that would be 878 Vikings, so 30 points for Mr. Bonacor.
Mm-hmm.
No one picked Fleet the Dice Game for 40 points at 601, so Z, you get 50 points for picking Karuba
Very nice.
at 501. So it's
Very
50 to
nice.
30. Not bad, not bad.
Yep.
I think the score
All right,
should
so
go
now-
500 to 300. Can we make that happen?
No.
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 All right.
Okay.
Which of these games has the most rankings? The most people have ranked it. So now I picked some pretty high games on the list. So here we go. Very popular games. Which one of these has the most rankings? So the OG of the number 1 at BGG, Puerto Rico, and then Agricola, or how about the deck building game Dominion? But what about the very popular Ticket to Ride? Or maybe Terraforming Mars?
Yeah, baby.
Or possibly Code Names?
Wow,
So we
you
have Puerto Rico,
really did pick like the
Wow.
biggest
Agricola,
ones.
Dominion, Ticket to Ride, Terraforming Mars, and Code Names. So I'll tell you this. The highest one has 82,508 ratings, and the lowest one of these 6 has 66,018 ratings. They're all
Tight.
rated by many people.
Very tight.
Wow. Okay. I think Bonacor is first.
That's correct.
All right, I think I know. Oh, jeez, this is hard.
I know it's hard.
really
I
hard.
didn't pick the number 1 answer, I don't believe.
Yeah, which I know what it is. That's pretty easy, I think. They're all going to be up there, so it's like this is a crapshoot.
These are in like the top 10, 20 or whatever. I just picked a variety of sorts of games.
I mean, and all these games are
What do
like
you think the number 1 is, actually?
Catan.
It is not.
Okay.
What do you think it is, Z? Of all that's not on this list.
Wingspan.
No. Just not yet.
It's Pandemic.
All right.
Oh, that's what I meant. Wingspan
Yeah.
Pandemic.
Yeah,
Edition.
it's the right. All the birds. Never mind. All right. We're going for. This is very tough. We're gonna go for Dominion.
All right, Dominion.
You messed up, Bonacor.
Did you guess number 1 on this list? Might be.
Might have. I'm gonna go
Might
with
be.
I'm gonna also just risk it. I'm gonna risk it with Code Names.
Yeah, Codename is the other one I think could be number 1.
Yeah.
All right. Well, no one picked the lowest one, which was Puerto Rico with 66,018 ratings. The second lowest was Agricola with 66,798 ratings. The third lowest with 76,074 ratings is Code Names. So 30 more points to Z, bringing you to 80 points.
Yeah.
Then Ticket to Ride would have gotten you 40, 77,502. The big winner for 50 points. I'm sorry. No, I have those mixed up. Terraforming Mars was 40 points. Ticket to Ride would have been the big winner. Terraforming Mars, though, would have got you 40 at 76,656. And the top answer for 0 points, Dominion with 82,508.
You messed up.
If I'm doing my math correctly, means 80 points for Z, 30 for Mr. Bonacor. But don't worry, we have many more questions. All right, next question. I went to the bottom of the list here. Which one of these games is ranked the highest? So we have The Floor is Lava. By the way, I hate all these games. The Floor is Lava, where you put down a piece of felt in the floor and step on them and not in the floor. Then we
actually do that? Okay.
Yes. Then New Phone, Who Dis? Where you are playing, it's like an apples to apples, but you're playing text that people send back and forth.
It's a great name, though.
Then we have the Honeymooners game. This is from 1985, and it's about as bad as you can imagine. Then we have Soggy Doggy. This is a game in which a dog like shakes itself and gets you wet every once in a while, like literally. Then we have from Minion Games, Fishing for Terrorists, which was a game where you were actually fishing for terrorists. It's an odd theme.
Yeah, it was.
And then we find the last one on the list is Word Mastermind, which is really lowly ranked, and yet at the same time, everyone loves Wordle, and it's pretty much the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So
we got The Floor is Lava, New Phone, Who Dis, the Honeymooners game, Soggy Doggy, Fishing for Terrorists, and Word Mastermind.
We're looking for the highest rated of these, not the lowest.
The second highest rated.
Well, yes, but right.
The highest rated on this list is 19,980, and the lowest rated is 20,845.
Oh, so they're still grouped up pretty closely.
Okay, so Floor's Lava, New Phone, Who Dis,
Honeymooners game, Soggy Doggy, Fishing for Terrorists, and Word Mastermind.
Second highest. I'm gonna go with New Phone, Who Dis.
You just wanted to say that.
All right, Mr. Bonacore.
I remember when Fishing for Terrorists came out. What a terrible theme, and wasn't much
better.
better.
It's a bad theme and a bad game.
It was not a good game either, but I think it's rated higher than at least some of these disasters here. So I'm going to go with Fishing for Terrorists.
Okay.
All right. Once again, good news for everybody. No one picked The Floor is Lava, which is the highest rated at 19,980 and should be because this game is so bad. My kids didn't like it. Then we have the worst rated on this list is Word Mastermind at 20,845.
Okay.
But the second worst at rate 20,753 is Fishing for Terrorists, bringing Mr. Bonacore up to a total of 50 points.
You got.
I got
Soggy Doggy at 30, the Honeymooners game at 40, and Z another 50 points for New Phone, Who Dis.
I own that game, fool. All those ratings are from me.
All right. Did you know, dear viewer, that Board Game Geek is not the only website that Scott Alden owns? There's another website called Video Game Geek.
Yeah.
No one goes there. But
I used to.
When it first came out, I was very excited about it, and I started ranking some games, and then I didn't. This does not have nearly as many rankings as Board Game Geek, and there's also a lot more competition out there of video games. But I went there to see what were the highest ranked video games, and I picked 6 of them. These are all in the top 20.
All in the top 20.
So which of these video games is ranked the highest? We have The Elder Scrolls Skyrim, Super Metroid, XCOM, UFO Defense, the original one, Civilization 2, the highest of all the Civ games, ranked there, Legends of Zelda Breath of the Wild, and the very popular Portal. I have played all these except Portal, actually. I've never played Portal. I should probably get around to that someday.
Oh,
The Elder Scrolls Skyrim, Super Metroid, XCOM UFO Defense, Civilization 2, Legends of Zelda Breath of the Wild, and Portal. One of these is ranked number 2. That's the highest ranked one. And the lowest ranked one is ranked 17. So these go from 2 to 17.
Okay. And it's me first.
Who picks? You pick?
No, you pick first, Mr. Bonacore.
Oh, it's Steven.
No,
okay.
yeah. I think you pick Who Dis.
Who Dis?
Being the huge video gamer that I am, hashtag I am not.
I'm sure you've heard of all 5 of these, though, right?
I've heard of all of these games. Except, what's the second one again? I barely wrote it
Super
down.
Metroid?
Yeah, that one I don't think I've heard of. Oh, again, sorry. I'm sorry. Not a big video gamer. I apologize. I'll go with the one that I think is just the biggest, and then whatever. And I'll go with XCOM.
What?
Is that what you're going to pick, Z?
No.
Oh.
No. All right, you're going with XCOM. For me, the landmine, I think, is between Skyrim and Breath of the Wild. I don't really want to gamble on either one of those. I feel like Skyrim might be the highest because Breath of the Wild might be after the website was no longer getting a lot of traffic.
It's a lot of words you just used. Pick a game.
So I'm going to go with Portal because it's old enough and classic enough.
All
but
right.
not Skyrim, you know.
Well, Z, you were incorrect there, actually.
Yeah?
Legends of Zelda Breath of the Wild is ranked number 2. It would have got you 0 points had you picked it.
I should have gone with Skyrim then. Okay.
The lowest ranked one is Civilization 2. It's at 17. That's still pretty high. That would have got you 10 points. The Elder Scrolls Skyrim is the second lowest one, Z, at 14.
What?
Although, again, 14. Come on now.
It's huge. It's still
That's not high
phenomenal.
enough. I'm sorry. It's Skyrim, people.
All right, then 30 points goes to Mr. Bonagor with XCOM UFO Defense. Bring your total to 80. Then Super Metroid gives you 40 and Portal gives you 50.
unbelievable.
I'm actually not sure what how many points Z has at this point, but I think it's 200.
You suck.
All right. Now, I'll tell you this.
Yeah, I'm done.
That is good music. All right. So Video Game Geek gets a lot fewer ratings, so I went to look at which games get the most ratings here. So
Okay.
here we go. From these games, which of these has the most ratings? These aren't the highest rated games necessarily, but they have the most ratings. So we have Super Mario Brothers 3. We have Baldur's Gate. We have StarCraft. Final Fantasy VII, which is the highest of all the Final Fantasy games. Fallout 3 and Diablo.
Wow.
So Super Mario Brothers 3,
Classics.
Baldur's Gate, StarCraft, Final Fantasy VII, Fallout 3, and Diablo.
Classics you picked here.
Okay. Final Fantasy VII, Diablo, and what were the last three?
Super Mario Brothers, Baldur's Gate, StarCraft, Final Fantasy VII, Fallout 3, and Diablo.
You want the most ratings?
Well, the second most.
Number 2.
Yeah. I think that's 1. That might be 2. I'm gonna go with my favorite video game of all time, Fallout 3.
All right. Mr. Bonagor.
Because I'm old and I played it quite a bit, I go classic.
Mario, baby.
I go classic. I go Diablo. I played Diablo a lot with friends
Oh,
back.
it's not that old.
Whoa! What's with the laughing?
I'm not laughing. I'm weeping for you.
Yeah, man,
You
we
had a
can't really
chance.
know.
You had a chance
Come on.
there to catch up because Z picked the number 1 answer.
Yes,
And
but I
got
picked-
0 points.
And I picked
But
the
you
number
picked
6.
the lowest answer and got 10 points. Come on.
So Fallout 3 has the most votes, huh?
Yeah, but it's not that many. It's actually 1,243.
It's
That's a
literally
lot less.
This is literally a crapshoot. This is
The
just
number-
literally a crapshoot.
The number 2 answer was StarCraft, then
Okay.
Final Fantasy VII, then Super Mario Brothers 3, then Baldur's Gate, and then Diablo.
Oh,
I figured Baldur's Gate would be at the bottom, and I figured Diablo
2,
would be at the
3,
top,
4, 5.
actually.
Do we get one more? Do we double the points? Something I
No,
can have.
maybe-
no. We got 3 more questions. Here we go. Next one.
3.
I now went to RPGgeek.com.
You're really going low here.
Fell down a rabbit hole, I see.
Which of these RPGs is the highest rated game on that particular website?
Is
So
D&D
what
on there?
Three.
All right, here we go. I have Call of Cthulhu 7th edition. I picked the highest edition of each of these. I have Legends of the Five Rings 4th edition. Star Wars Edge of the Empire. Savage Worlds. D&D 5th edition. And Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay.
We want the highest.
The second highest, please.
Well,
Second
what-
highest
we're
rank.
going for the
Not
highest
the,
ranking.
Not the most people ranking
Right,
it,
right,
but it's the highest. Like these are the critically acclaimed ones.
Okay.
I have the number 1 is one of these. and the lowest is number 23.
Okay. Run them quick again without the additions.
Call of Cthulhu, Legends of the Five Rings, Star Wars: Edge of the Empire, Savage Worlds, D&D 5th Edition, Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay.
Wow.
Okay,
Wow.
so I'm going to avoid that. I'm going to avoid that. So I'm going to go for Call of Cthulhu.
And you say
isn't Mr. Boddicker first?
Let me
No,
say
he was just first, right?
No, he wasn't. You picked Fallout 3, then he picked Diablo.
Oh, go ahead. You can take that one if you want. That's fine.
No, I won't take it because I'll play fair. I'm
again, like you said, I'm shooting in the dark, man.
Yeah,
I have no idea.
You did say one of these is number 1, Tom? The number 1 ranked? Okay. Then I'm going to pick Star Wars and kill myself.
I'm going to change my answer.
No, you can't change your answer.
I'm kidding, okay? Roll for initiative one time.
This is not bad because once again, Z picked the number 1 answer with Call of Cthulhu 7th edition.
Seriously?
It's very highly rated. People really like that game. The next highest one on here was the 50-point answer was Legends of the Five Rings. That's at 9.
I almost picked it.
D&D 5th edition is at 10.
Oh,
Star Wars is at 17. So 30 points for Mr. Boddicker.
Okay.
And then Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay and Savage Worlds comes in at 23. All right.
Wow.
Let's go to something.
Star Wars would be the highest. Okay.
These last 2 questions should hopefully tilt towards Mr. Boddicker. Because I now jumped to the original Atari system.
Here we go.
Okay.
So of these 6 games for the Atari system, which of these sold the most? The number of copies sold. Here are the 6 games. We have Pac-Man, Frogger, E.T. the Extraterrestrial, the game that almost made him go broke, Centipede, Space Invaders, and Donkey Kong. So again, Pac-Man, Frogger, E.T. the Extraterrestrial, which is a weird repeat, Centipede, Space Invaders, and Donkey Kong.
I'm picking first.
That's
I don't
correct.
know. You figure it out, man.
Yes.
This sucks, Tom. Come on. This is
this is
tough.
Also,
these are video games. Are any of them post-apocalyptic, like Fallout 3, the best game of all time?
You've heard of all these, and you probably played most of them at some point.
I don't know of what you speak. What's an Atari?
Atari 2600, best console ever.
I don't think anyone has ever said that.
No. They certainly did say that when it was out, because it was the only one out.
All right, I guess I don't know. I really don't know. I'm going to go with Frogger.
Frogger, all right.
So I'm going to pick the one I think is highest rated, because I can't really know the highest rated, just to pick one of the top ones.
Here we go.
I'm going to go with Pac-Man. Please don't tell me it's number 1.
All right. The number 6 answer sold 1,815,661 games. That's Centipede. No, E.T. sold 2.7 million. Again, they made so many more than that. It almost made the company go bankrupt, or it did make the company go bankrupt. It almost caused a crash of the entire video game industry at the time.
Yeah. There's that landfill that's
then we have
with those.
With 4 million copies, I'm assuming there was some rounding done there, Frogger for 30 points.
Okay.
Then 4.1 million, Donkey Kong.
Oh, come on.
So the last 2 answers, we have 6.2 million and 8 million. Space Invaders would have got you 50 points, but Pac-Man gets you 0.
You got. I love it.
Again. Oh, my goodness, this sucks.
All right, you know what? I will make the final 1 double points because it doesn't matter.
Oh, okay, that's okay.
Because I can't win.
All right.
Negative points for the top.
So instead of Atari, I went and looked up actual arcade cabinets that were sold.
Okay.
So whether they were in a pizzeria, in an old arcade. So which of these 6 has sold the most arcade cabinets? We have Mortal Kombat 2.
Woo!
Q*bert. Street Fighter 2. Donkey Kong, the only one that crosses over. Mrs. Pac-Man or Ms. Pac-Man. And Donkey Kong Jr. By the way, do you know who the villain was in Donkey Kong Jr.?
Tom Vassell?
The villain in Donkey Kong Jr. No.
It's Mario. It's the only time in video game history where Mario was the bad guy.
That Mario guy, he's corrupt. Everybody knows that dude's got something going on, okay? I'm sorry. Nobody's that nimble of a plumber.
All right, anyway, we have Mortal Kombat 2, Q*bert, Street Fighter 2, Donkey Kong, Ms. Pac-Man, and Donkey Kong Jr. The scores are currently, I thought they were 230 to 90, I believe, is where we're at.
These are stand-up consoles that were sold to arcades or homes or whatever.
Sure.
Who picks first?
Yeah, I'm assuming very few were sold to homes, I think.
Sure,
but yes.
sure.
Yeah.
Who picks first?
The highest, these are not very high numbers, actually. The highest of these is 200,000, and the lowest is 30,000. And these are all from a list I found of the top 25 of all time.
Okay. Is it me now first?
No, it's Mr. Bonacor's first.
Okay.
Double points.
There's two good choices here. I'm taking the one you're not taking, Bonacor. Come on, don't mess this up. I don't even care if it's number one.
The answer is... Oh, there's a trap in here, too.
By the way, the real number one is also Pac-Man, by the way.
Donkey Kong.
Donkey Kong, all right. See?
I'm split between... The two that I saw everywhere were Mortal Kombat 2 and Street Fighter 2. Both are so incredibly popular. I feel like I saw more Mortal Kombat in my time, so I will go with Street Fighter 2.
All right, it's a good thing I said the points don't matter here.
Is it? Yeah.
Because the number one answer, 200,000, is Street Fighter 2.
Hadouken!
And the number two answer with 132,000 is Donkey Kong.
Oh, finally.
Really?
Bringing the score 190 for Mr. Bonacor and 230 for Z.
Oh, almost caught up.
Actually, Z, Ms. Pac-Man then has 125,000. Donkey Kong Jr., 30,000. Mortal Kombat 2 only at 27,000.
That's crazy. I've seen like half of those.
Part of it's because Street Fighter lasted much longer. It was a better game by far. Mortal Kombat just had the shock value to it.
Yep.
Yeah, that's partly true, but I just feel I remember everywhere you went, there was a Mortal Kombat 2, and then eventually Mortal Kombat 3 came out, and that was awesome. I still remember playing that at a comic book store when I was in my
It might
teens,
just be the places you were hanging out with. All right.
So yeah, that could be.
All righty. So congratulations, Z. If you played along in chat, put your scores down. Let me know what you got. And let's go to some contributors.
Good morning. As we close out the second month of 2022, this feels like a great time to look back at some of those game-playing goals we set for ourselves at the beginning of the year. If you're like me, maybe you did a 10 by 10 challenge. This is my 10 by 10 challenge. I decided that in these uncertain times, I wanted to give myself a little more flexibility. So rather than picking specific games, I actually picked some types of games I wanted to play and some of my favorite publishers and a couple of people that I really wanted to make sure I got to play some games with this year. And so this is how I've been tracking my 2022 games. My friend Robin is a big fan of BG Stats, so I know she's keeping track of her progress towards her goals in here, which is a pretty cool way to both be able to keep all of your gaming stats and see your progress towards some specific goals that you have for yourself. And then my friends Sky and Sophia are doing this really cool game bingo, which I think I'm going to try next year, where they populated a bingo card with 25 different games that they're going to be playing over the course of the year. And then when a person wins that game, they get to mark it off on the bingo card, and the first person to get 5 in a row wins the meta game of bingo. So what goals have you set for yourselves, and how is it going? We'd love to hear more in the chat. Until then, have a great breakfast. Bye.
This spotlight is brought to you by Pendragon Game Studio. Welcome to the world of Starship Interstellar. The year 2357, in stark contrast to mankind's hopes, violent astronomical events, and the unregulated use of the new solar extraction technology have greatly accelerated the growth rate of our star. Now the sun is nearing the end of its life cycle and its fate. As any other star of its category, it is to transform into a red giant. This will result in an exceptional increase in volume that will cause it to engulf Mercury, Venus, and possibly Earth itself. In the best case scenario, the increase in volume would stop short of our planet's destruction, but life as we know would have already been destroyed due to radiation and the dramatic increase in surface temperatures. Our only hope as mankind is to build a colossal interstellar spaceship that would allow a fraction of humanity to evacuate to a new Earth. We have located such a planet in the TRAPPIST-R system during our search for all viable planets. Such a project, however, is far from simple. The resources we need can't be found on our planet, and the few made available from the solar extraction technology are still insufficient. The only way to complete this monumental task is to harvest the materials needed directly from the other planets of our solar system. Every player will guide a nation with the aim of becoming the foremost contributor in the race for the interstellar spaceship. If mankind is to be saved, whichever nation will be deemed the greatest contributor will have the honor of guiding humanity on this new Earth. For more information, please go check out the campaign, which is now live on Kickstarter.
Hey, it's Oliver. You like my new do? Well, anyways, we're gonna keep talking about board games through the eyes of a teenage gamer, which is obviously me. And as a teenager, you know that I love video games. It's one of my favorite pastimes. And I know, and I think you know too, that a lot of video games are transformed into board games. And I wanted to talk about one game in particular, and this game is Minecraft Builders and Biomes. And Minecraft is actually my favorite game. And while Minecraft is my favorite game, and I know this game by heart, this game nails all the points. Like, obviously you build in Minecraft. Like, why would you craft things if you're not gonna build it? You get what I mean? And then you can, walk across and get the weapons, and then you can fight the mobs, so there's kind of a PvE type of thing, which is kind of what Minecraft is. And there's this block where you're, taking blocks of, and that's one of your, actions for the, for your turn. And you take it off, and you get resources. I think you get at least 2. But I just think all the aspects of the game are just awesome. And just like in Minecraft, there's TNT, and it's super overpowered. And yeah, it's just an awesome game. I love this game. I love how they did it. I know there's probably video games that are board games that aren't that good, but this one nailed it. So, have a good breakfast.
Welcome to the news, folks. I'm surprised we have 2 weeks worth of news and there's not a ton, but there's some interesting things. Let's start with Quinted Games. They've started a new little series a couple years ago, their Master Print mini series, and they have 3 new games they've announced. They have Animalia. Now this is a cooperative trick-taking game. I guess that's going to be the new thing now, right?
I see you, Quinted. Yes.
And you're conducting research on endangered animals. It's 1 to 3 players, 30 minutes long. I don't know if I like that cover,
solitaire trick-taking game. That's great.
How's that possible?
You're gonna be.
You lead and you follow, Tom.
Okay. Anyhow, then we have Legends of Hellas, a terrible name. Another cooperative game. You're beating mythological monsters. I'm excited about that. There's just so many. Hellas has been used in other games already. We have Lords of Hellas. And then Agropolis. This is the reprinting. They already did Sprawlopolis, if you remember. This is the sequel/expansion to Sprawlopolis.
That is what this is. Okay.
Yeah, I don't remember if I got the original Sprawlopolis from them. I thought I did. It just came in a little box. I just like that. The wallets are neat, of course, but they're easy to misplace. A box, at least, you'll see on your shelf.
Yeah.
So, all right. Next. Okay, here we go. Intellectual property time. The op is releasing Avatar Fire Nation, Airbender Fire Nation Rising. You know what? I'm going to stop talking before I get...
It's called Avatar, The Last Airbender. Fire Nation Rising.
It's a very long title.
I don't like that half the title's at the top and half is at the bottom.
It's a logo thing, but I agree with you.
There's no way you could put it all in one place because it's too long. It's gorgeous art. I do love this IP. I've watched all the Avatar stuff, so... This could be a very interesting if they stay true to the IP.
Well, whatever. It's another Rising game. So this is based on Thanos Rising, Dark Force Rising, Plankton Rising, Death Eaters Rising, blah, 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 blah. That doesn't mean it's a bad game. If you play one of those games, all these games are very, very similar with minor changes.
Okay.
Oh, I got it. So they're not really changing anything. They're just slapping IPs on things. I got it.
Well,
it might be. I don't know.
That is what the op does a lot of times. And I don't, on one hand, I'm like, oh, you just slapped an IP. On the other hand, I think you'll get some more people to play these games who wouldn't have otherwise. Yeah. So I think the Rising games are fine. They're nice cooperative games. So if we get Avatar people in the fold, got
them.
Speaking of that, Smash Up, AEG is working with the op to do a Disney edition. We've already seen a Marvel edition from them, which I actually really enjoyed. So the factions here, which I was looking up, where are they? We have Beauty and the Beast, Big Hero 6, which is awesome, The Lion King, Mulan, and then The Nightmare Before Christmas, Aladdin, Frozen. And Wreck-It Ralph.
There you go.
Wow.
I'm playing Wreck-It Ralph, Big Hero 6.
That's a good combo. I'm going to go with The Nightmare Before Christmas, Frozen.
Oh, I was going to take Frozen.
Well, here, I'll give you one.
You got to let it go.
You can be Zombie Mulan.
Let it
go. So take zombies from the original game and mix it with Mulan.
Okay, I can see it. I want it.
Yes.
I will make you a zombie man. All right.
Speaking of IPs.
Is that the next slide? Yes.
Yes.
Star Wars Villainous. So this is coming from Ravensburger. Now, two things. One, that's an awesome cover. I really like that cover. Two, I'm really not interested in this. I feel like I'm villainoused out. They already did the Disney Villainous, and I thought the theme worked there really well. Marvel did not work for me as well, and now Star Wars, I'm like, okay. Again, if it gets people to play the game, hooray.
Do you like the Disney one more than the Marvel one, Tom?
I do. I don't know why. I think it fits it's a kind of a goofy, lighter game, and that fits Disney. The Marvel thing, I don't know. I just didn't enjoy it as much. It was still fine. I just didn't enjoy it as much.
Again, they don't make changes when they do this?
Well, the big change they made, which I was surprised about, is the Marvel one is not compatible with the Disney one.
Right.
That's not the case in what we just saw. Like, you can play Wreck-It Ralph Avengers in Smash Up.
Well, yeah, I mean, those are made to be completely compatible.
But in Villainous, you can't play, as far as I can tell, you can't play Darth Vader versus Cruella de Vil.
That would be great.
It would be, and my money would be on Cruella de Vil.
You know it, baby. She's going to skin him and make herself a scarf. And the scarf, she walks around and the scarf goes. It'd be great.
Thanks for that gross analogy. All right. The Loop has an expansion. Oh, a sequel coming. I'm sorry. It's the Revenge of Fosilla.
That is an expansion. It says the Loop expansion right there.
It's standalone expansion.
Oh. Okay. I know
You're
Mike
right.
Alicia would be quite excited about this. I think Chris also likes it a lot.
And Roy. This is coming out in August this year. $25, pretty cheap price.
Very
and that's a pretty fun cover.
That is fun. Yeah.
All right. Asmodee's releasing Caverna Cave vs. Cave, the big box, which is also could be called Caverna. I don't know. Come on.
How many expansions have they put out for this two-player edition?
I thought there was only one. I know the Agricola, All Creatures Great and Small, had multiple expansions.
It says that in the notes. It's only the first expansion in this box. So it's just taking the base and the expansion, putting them together, big box.
That's not a big box.
It's a pretty mediocrely small box.
If this is the same size as Caverna, though, that's going to cause confusion at the store.
Yeah, think about it, right? It has to be almost the same size. Why would you? It even looks the same size.
It really does.
That's ridiculous.
I don't know who was asking for this, but there you go. All right. Renegade has a new G.I. Joe Mission Critical. This is a cooperative game using Renegade's Guardian system, which was they used in the Power Rangers game. I might like this better because the Power Rangers game was fine. I just have a hard time getting into that theme. While Go Joe, yeah, I love G.I. Joe. I do think there's too much emphasis on Snake Eyes, but whatever.
Is Snake Eyes the bad guy or the good guy?
He's a good guy, but it's like there's Snake Eyes and then the rest of the G.I. Joes. Like he's just like so cool and so good.
Wait. So one of these dudes is not named G.I. Joe?
No.
They're all like G.I. Joes?
There's all kinds of names. There's Rock and Roll. There's Hawk. Is it Hawk or Hawkeye? Hawk. I'm mixing them up now.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, clearly I don't know anything about G.I. Joe.
Well,
Law and Order. Law was the guy. Order was the dog. All right, moving on.
Okay.
Betrayal at House on the Hill, a 3rd edition. So now this is interesting. So there's new art. They're actually changing it because 2nd edition and 1st edition was almost a misnomer. They were almost the same exact game
with like the errata pushed into it. That's all they did with the 1st and 2nd, as far as I know.
Sure, they fixed it. Anyhow.
But yeah, no, you're right. Okay, keep going, and I want to have comment.
Anyhow, there's new art, and they said they're fixing the character stat trackers with clips moving along a notch track. I hope that's true because that's the worst component in the game for sure. Those little notch things did not work at all.
Yeah. So
I disagree that that's the worst component of the game.
What's the worst component?
What do you think the worst component of the game is?
The Traitor's Tome and the Secret Survivor's Guide.
Oh, you know, hold on.
Fine. No. Okay, I'll give you that one.
I completely. I have a feeling you don't like the game. I happen to love the game. I know it's one of the most broken games around, but the theme is so wonderful in Betrayal at House on the Hill.
I agree, but they now know 15 years later that these are broken. Fix the ones that are broken. How hard is that?
I love the game. Anytime somebody wants to play one of these, I play it. I don't care if it doesn't. Sometimes you have the most epic moments in these games where, and sometimes it doesn't work out as well. So I'm happy that they're doing it again with better components. I have the 1st edition. I probably now should just move up to have better components. And they're not putting it out a 4th edition anytime soon. That's for sure.
They might be fixing the tomes. I don't know. You know what? They don't dare say so, right? Because then they would be admitting that it was broken. But
yeah.
Come on, if they don't fix it now, though, then that's garbage. They've had the 2nd edition, they didn't fix it, and we're like, what? And then they came out with the expansion Widow's Walk, which had even more game-breaking stuff in it.
That's actually a good point. Is Widow's Walk part of this? Probably not. I got to go look at. I have it actually wrote down when I saw this in the news. I wrote down go check out Betrayal pre-order because I want it, I guess. I mean, I have. This game is one of the ones that will never leave my collection. I love this game, and I got the Legacy, and I want to play the Legacy. I got Scooby. I got Baldur's Gate, which I played once.
Yeah, I don't dislike this game as a system. I mean, I've had some fun with this game.
Yep.
I just hate that you never know if the game's going to end or not end or end well. If they fix this up so that it's now a tight, consistently playable game, I'm back in, man. I think this game is very atmospheric.
I agree.
I like that.
I'm sure they can. Of course they can. But the way that the system plays out, it's so variable. So could they make it like perfect? I don't think that they ever could.
Yes, but they have enough data now to know which scenarios are more broken than others.
No doubt.
I agree. They can do it.
All right, I really think we need What?
Yeah.
I don't know what you're saying. Okay.
I was just going to say, anybody wants to play a game of this with me, just let me know. I'm playing.
No, nobody does. Go ahead.
Nobody does.
All right. I feel like we should have a section of news that's just called Big Box section. Okay. So anyhow, Terra Mystica Big Box, which is going to be a huge box because I have the expansion and you sit it next to. There's 2 expansions. I can't fit either one into the base box. And it's huge. So this thing is going to cost $150.
Wow.
So, and it's going to come with an Automa Factory solo variant. If you just want the solo variant, you'll be able to buy it for $20. So that's good. I'm glad they're doing that.
Okay.
So interesting. I mean, the big box, that's a really fat box.
Not a full calyx, so it's not that big.
That's true.
$150 is a lot of money, but if I'm sure there's a market for this. It's not me.
All right, earlier this month, or earlier in February, I'm sorry, you saw me, Z, Camilla, and I think Mike, we played the first game from Taburu, which was, what was it called? The Bad Karmas, I think?
Yeah, I believe so.
So that was their starting game. They had originally, years ago, when they announced the system, said they were working with Simon to put Zombicide on the system. That apparently fell apart. Don't know why. None of my business. But this new game, we were like, okay, that's cool. But, man, it would have really helped if they had a licensed game to launch with it. Well, now they do. Sword and Sorcery, which is from
I don't know about that Sword
and Sorcery.
Ares. Sorry, Ares.
Oh, okay.
So Sword and Sorcery is a fairly popular dungeon crawling game. It's had multiple versions, tons of expansions, very, very popular. It's one of the more enduring of all the different dungeon crawls. Using a dungeon crawl with the Taburu system sounds pretty cool to me. That's kind of what I want to see that system used as, because you can, move around the dungeon and it knows where you are and stuff like that. So, let's see.
My big question here is, so can I just use the Sword and Sorcery game in Taburu? I fear not. There's got to be something else that happens.
No. I highly doubt it. You're going to need some things. So some of the pieces will have bases that you can put them in that will work with the board, where they are on the board.
Right.
Because if you didn't have that, then what's the whole point of the system? You can just use an app with the game.
Sure. So then what else do I need besides the bases that will then recognize it on the board? The cards? Will the cards be recognizable? No way.
So, but the cards might have QR codes on them. Who knows? They haven't announced much more. I just think this is a good move for them to have not just their own starting game, but to have a good solid game to go along with it.
My whole point is that, so what does Sword and Sorcery cost? I'm going to make up a number. $80, $100. I mean, it's a big game. So it costs a lot. So now you're going to have to buy $50 more of game to play it on Taburu.
Or they're going to make a version that's just compatible with Taburu.
Okay, so the next second edition.
What do you call it? A conversion kit. Again, I don't know.
Yeah. That's how the interesting part of how I applaud the idea of trying to do this, and Taburu's a great idea.
Did he die on us?
All this extra stuff.
Yeah.
Do you not see me? Hello?
I see you and hear you. You just lagged there for a second. I think.
Sorry, I'm on my. Sorry, I apologize.
Well, the conversation was so boring, the internet tried to shut you down.
I was canceled. Go ahead.
All right. GTS becomes the exclusive distributor for Stonemire. This is news that we see pretty much every year. We see a few companies go exclusive with this different distributors, and then usually a few years later we find out that they changed their minds. Before I get yelled at by Mr. Bonacor, yes, some companies do stick it out, but it often happens that they don't. When this went live, basically there's always going to be an argument whether exclusivity is good or not. I'm not even sure where I land on it. I know it's very good for the publisher. Yep. Because the publisher doesn't have to do a lot of work. They send it to one distributor. It's very good for the distributor, obviously. Stores, as a general matter of course, really despise this, and I saw quite a bit of shouting on the internet when this was announced. But now we'll hear why it's good for the hobby.
No, well, what it is good for, forget about the exclusivity and going with only GTS in the US, and by the way, only universal distribution in Canada. That's a thing. The main thing in this, the main takeaway in this is that Stonemire is now creating this Fortress program, which is specifically for retailers. So a retailer can now call themselves gold or platinum, and they can guarantee themselves at least 3 or 6, respectively, copies of every game that Stonemire comes out with. And they can opt out even if they like a new game is coming out and they say, I don't think this can sell in my store. They just say, for this one, I don't want it. But for the next one, when they reprint so-and-so, when they come out with, Wingspan 2, I want the full number of copies, the 6 copies for that game. And then, of course, you can also opt to get more if they can give you more. They're trying to help the small stores with this. This is specifically for that. So every retailer should be taking note, or people who go to retailers, and hopefully people still do, and they have good retailers. They can go there, tell their retailer about it, that, hey, you can guarantee to get X number of games every time they come out with a game. It works for the retailer.
I'm just saying.
Are all these retailers automatically in the Fortress program? Do they pay something to be in the Fortress program?
Great questions. The answer is there's no cost to you. You just tell GTS, because now you have to deal with GTS, I want to be a gold member or a platinum member. That's all you have to do. And if for whatever reasons they don't want to deal with GTS, they can still order direct through Stonemire. But then there'll be there's always that shipping thing, like GTS will give you free shipping at a certain level, so you can, if you're going to order a lot, you go one direction. If you only order a little bit, you can go direct to Stonemire. So it's a win-win for a retailer. This is a small retailer. It's a big win.
I'll take it.
Again, a lot of retailers do not seem to agree with you on this.
I think for some reason there's some vocal retailers, probably the larger ones, that don't like the idea, but I think a small retailer, which is kind of the best ones to try to support, will get huge benefits out of this, where they could only get 1 copy in the past, or sometimes 0 copies. Now they're guaranteed to get copies.
Well, we'll see how it works out. I am curious to see how this will affect his pre-orders, because Jamie is really big at selling thousands of his games to people direct, bypassing the stores completely. Will he continue to do that?
Is it good for the stores? No. But it's
all right, next, let's jump to Dune. For years, the Herbert estate would not allow any board games to be made from in the Dune universe, which is why Fantasy Flight back in the day re-themed the game Dune to Rex. Right. But now apparently they said, hey, you know what's cool? Money. So
all right, you nerds, you can have it.
So now I think this is the 5th or 6th Dune game that's been announced or released in the last couple years. We have Dune Arrakis, Dawn of the Fremen. This is from Gale Force 9, who seems to have, I think, maybe an exclusive rights to Dune, because they did Dune, the mini sequel, the Dune social deduction game, and this one. Oh, Ignacy did a Dune game too.
Yeah, Dune House Secrets is from Portal, and there's another one from someone else.
Well, anyway, this one is the early history of the Fremen.
Okay.
So you're leaders of the Fremen. You're collecting resources, finding shelter, taming the wild sandworms. It's designed by the designers of Dune, who also designed Cosmic Encounter. That's interesting to me. So they have Peter Lotka and his son, Greg Lotka, Jack Kittredge, Bill Eberly, and Jack Rita, who was a big fan and got involved with later designs of Cosmic Encounter.
Right.
This is interesting because several of the guys here in this design group play almost no other games other than their own.
Well,
as they've told me.
This is, as far as I understand, Tom, this is a slightly reworked version of their Borderlands game.
Oh. I've never played Borderlands. Is it good?
I hate Borderlands.
So Borderlands came out way back in the day. Then FFG reprinted as Steamworks, the Borderlands or whatever that one was called. The one that did terribly for them.
You're right. It says it was re-implemented. So yes, Borderlands came out. Borderlands on Board Game Geek is ranked 6,075. Gear World, the re-implementation of it, is ranked 19,900. I gave it a 3.
Wow.
So you really like it? Okay. It's like your number 3 game of all time. You mean?
Close. Oh well. So there went any interest I had in this game. So
it's so funny. I had lots of interest based on the fact that I saw it looked like it was going to be this a theme that I could relate to in the Dune universe. I can't relate to Dune Imperium's theme really, because there's so much of this backstory you have to know. That this, oh wow, it's the early thing. You have to survive. You're gonna tame sandworms. I get it, but if it's not a good game,
it might be reworked considerably. Again, I don't want to say this is a reprint of Borderlands. I'm just saying it's based on Borderlands.
Got it.
All right,
it'll be better.
You never know. Also, yes, chat, Dune Imperium exists. You're right. It's insane that we did not mention that one. All right. The game I'm most excited about, though, is Sleeping Gods Distant Skies. This is a sequel to Sleeping Gods, and it's a standalone game, 1937, and instead of a ship going through a portal, now it's a plane going through. A different combat system, which was my biggest complaint about the game. Not that I didn't like it, but I thought it was too. It took away from the game. Like you're playing the game and then you stop for a long combat. Mm-hmm. Well, I know Z likes the combat better than I do, but
I like it. But you are right that it's like, okay, now we pause playing and now we play this combat game. It's like its own thing. You're right.
Right.
I do like it, but you're right. And this confirms, by the way, that Ryan Lockett does not sleep. Because, are you kidding me? Sleeping Gods is a massive game. My man just came out with Now or Never. And immediately, bam, Sleeping Gods Distant Skies. Not an expansion, an entire standalone game. This is insanity to me. That's a gorgeous cover, too. That might be my favorite Ryan Lockett cover, might be this one right here. That is nice.
He's really amazing and such a wonderful, nice person. I can't stand him. He's so nice.
That makes sense. Everything tracked there. All right, this is coming to crowd surfing later this year, and so I would imagine it will be released either late 23 or early 24 because it is such a massive undertaking. But hey, in the meantime, you're still not going to finish the first Sleeping Gods, so don't even pretend, everybody.
Please. This is coming to GameFound as well, right?
So it's been said. All right. That's the news, folks. Let's keep moving.
Assalamu alaikum. For Client Legacy Acquisitions Incorporated, the real fun was actually always the legacy element of this one, the narrative-driven story. And once you're done with the game, well, you're done with it. But the game was still fully replayable with your customized board. But if you're still looking for the fun that was the narrative nature of the game, then look no further. The Magical Lamp is a campaign storybook of around 10 missions, which I have made, which kinds of gives you another whole new adventure with different new game mechanics added in each of the game missions, different story narratives, branching stories, different things that you will go through. Just like your standard book of secrets, it will give you the missions. It will have different sections that you will have to go through. If you complete this, read this, things like that will happen. Of course, it takes inspiration from the classic Aladdin story of the magical lamp, and there are some components in the game which will remind you of those anyway. So I thought of making this campaign just based on those components and taking that story, at least the baseline of that story, and twisting it in terms of Acquisition Incorporated mode. So if you have enjoyed the comical nature of Acquisitions Incorporated, you're going to enjoy this one as well. Get it, you can find it on Clank Legacy Acquisitions Incorporated file section in the Board Game Geek. That's it for me. Happy gaming.
Hi, it's Taryn.
And Stella here from Maple University. Today we're going to share you Azul Queen's Gardens, the latest installment of Azul.
Yes.
It's probably the heaviest one.
Yeah, it's certainly the heaviest one. It also doesn't really resemble the original Azul.
No, yeah.
To my thought, I know they're certainly keen to use the Azul name, but it only has a very slim remnant of that Azul drafting mechanic.
Which was the drafting.
Yes.
It is. I feel like this one's a bit more like Calico, but way more complex. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It says it has that Calico feeling of trying to put tiles together, but it got a few more dimensions to it.
Yeah, very much. It's a Calico tile placement type of thing because there are tiles with different colors and different patterns, and you can make groups of the same pattern, or you can make groups of the same color. So it's very much Calico in that way.
Question is, do we like it? I know you like it. I like it. It's a heavy like, so don't expect it like, oh, I like Azul, but it's like 3 point something complexity on BGG, which is
the puzzle side of it adds a lot more complexity.
But we still enjoy them. So have you played the other Azul games? Which one's your favorite? Just let us know. And that is it from us for this week. See you later.
All right, folks, that's it for today. But there is a couple things. First of all, our top 10 list that we recorded at Dice Tower West is going to be premiered today at 2. So it's like it's going live. You can go in there and watch it with other people and chat if you want to. We had Far Cry scheduled for tomorrow, the board game, but because of various events, that's been pushed back to the 22nd of this month, which isn't too far away, so you'll see it there. But other stuff's going to be happening, so keep an eye out for who knows what in the future. But until next time, I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Z Garcia.
And I'm Stephen Bonacore.
Come join us at Dice Tower East.